Love, it has been good to me this time around. Things were ever bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact and I can find
Yes, sir. Well, hello and good evening and welcome to today's episode of the X-RAD show, the talk show that really does get you talking on the Xandermonium Network. I'm Xander Gibb.
And I'm Margret Echverria.
Oh, yes, sir. On today's show, the hottest of topics, and we throw the Facebook phone lines open to you so you can tell us exactly what you think. More to come in a mere moment. You can comment in the feed around the live video, and we will endeavor to involve you in the conversation. If it's clean, if it's uber dirty, we'll be sure to include it. You can tweet us. The tweet deets are on the X-RAD Facebook show page for today. And if you're not following Margaret and I on social media, make sure you do, because we'll be sending the boys round to rough you up. Welcome back to the show, my dear Margaret. How is the world with you?
Oh my God, did I forget to put the mute button on? I am so sorry.
I was too busy doing something, but don't worry about it. You know, we're all human beings here, you know.
Well, I apologize. I was scarfing down my dinner right before I called in because I went to pick up my dinner and then my credit card got caught in the parking lot machine. And I had to wait for them to come and dig it out of the slot before I could get home. So I got home and I had like 5 minutes to eat, so I apologize.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that.
The world is good. You know, I'm just saying my rosary daily and hoping for the best.
I agree with you, and everybody I speak to right now seems to kind of be feeling the pinch, either from, you know, the way that the economy is, or the weather, or, you know, something. And I think it's indicative of the times that we live in, but it is rather concerning, because I think most of us, all we actually want is a quiet life. You know, would I like to be rich and, you know, living on a, you know, 40-acre estate and all these things? Yes, of course I would. But I'm happy to be kind of doing the things that I love. But wouldn't it be great to just be kind of getting paid for it, you know? Because there's a real niche market out there for everything right now. And I think that you've just got to keep on keeping on, as they say.
Yes, you do. That's what I keep telling myself is, you know, Margaret, you just have to keep moving forward. You know, just keep moving forward.
Yes.
It's going to be okay. It's all going to work out. Keep moving forward.
Absolutely.
Some days it's really hard. Some days it's just really, really hard because everybody's got their hand out. You know, I need to pay everybody who's got a handout because I owe them.
Right.
And, you know, I'm just this actress who's driving an Uber, trying to make it, and I married another artist for love, and apparently I appreciate love in my house more than I appreciate cash. Evidence will show.
I would probably trade up for that right now, to be honest. But I totally get where you're coming from. But I think that you know, with us self-employed people, when the economy is bad, it affects us all, because, you know, when people don't have the money to spend, the first things that they're cutting back on are things that they can't, you know, that they can live without. And so it's a difficult one, I think, for most of us that are self-employed, that work for ourselves.
Everybody keeps saying the job market is better, but you know what? It's just jobs. It's not a living. You know, there's a difference between a job and a living.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think that there are a lot of, there are a lot of things. If I took every job I was offered, I'd be working like 48 hours a day. And the trouble is, a lot of people want you to do it for free. But I kind of think that cheapens you somewhat,
I think so too. Yeah, a lot of people want artists to do art for free, and I'm kind of done with that.
Yes.
I had to tell one of my favorite directors last summer, right around Memorial Day. He called me to, play a small part in a film that he was really excited about, and he wanted me to do it for free. And I said, you know what, Casper, I can't. I can't do that for you anymore.
Right.
And I felt bad because, I respect the heck out of him. But
right.
I'm too seasoned. I'm too good. My work is valuable, and I'm done with that.
I think you hit the nail on the head there, because it's imperative to value yourself. I mean, I've been an actor for, 25 years. 25 years. I was, as a child, I was an actor too, and a singer, and all of these things. But the thing is that, if all you ever do is kind of work as a, what's the word I'm looking for? If all you ever do is work as like an unpaid person, you end up where everybody kind of doesn't want to pay you. And even sometimes if you just do a gig even for a lower rate, sometimes that's okay. But it really is concerning when people want it all for free. And that's a concern for me, because, it's like, when you consider all the money you've put into honing your craft and getting better at what you do, it's rather like a kick in the face for someone to say, hey, can you do it for free? Even with my side business, I have a little a multimedia company called Madrigal Media that was responsible for this show, the TV show, and a couple of other things. And we also build websites and stuff. And all the time people are saying, hey, can you build me a website for free? And I'm like, why would I build you a website for free when I charge for doing that? And it's not that I don't want to help people, because I do, because I don't charge $25,000 to build someone a website. We've actually got an offer on at the moment where we'll build a 5-page website for $300, and you find your own hosting and domain name and stuff. But the thing is, for me, why should we do all of this stuff for free? And it's a concern.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. I think we need to stop expecting that of everyone so much. I think we need to. People respect what they pay for, and you find that if you're doing work for free consistently, you're not being respected, and you're being taken advantage of. And
right.
That's not good for anybody. That doesn't take care of anyone involved.
Yeah, I think that you have to get to a point where you have to value yourself, because if you don't, nobody else ever will. I mean, in the early days with singing, I've been paid from day one as a singer, as a professional singer. Even when I do a wedding and I sing something at a wedding, I get paid for that. And I have since I was 12 or 13. And I think that's absolutely fair, that you should be paid for your skill. Because if you're not paid for your skill, again, it's a disrespect of what you can achieve.
Yeah, I believe so too. And what you've worked to achieve.
Yes.
You put in.
Yes, because let's face it, you didn't come, I don't know, maybe you did, maybe you came out of the womb and you were a trained actress. I mean, I know I've been an actor from a very early age, because, acting is kind of like pretending. And, I remember when I was a young kid in the UK, that, when my brothers used to want to steal in stores, I was the stooge that would pretend to be having a heart attack or having an epileptic seizure. So they're concentrating on me, so my brothers could steal as much as they could, and I would get my share for doing that. So all of my skills have been kind of honed from day one. But I think it's astounding how many people still call and say, hey, can you come do this for free? So stop calling unless you want to pay for something. Stop calling and asking for a freebie, because
I have a question about stealing in stores.
Oh,
Are we not allowed to screw the cap off the liquid soap and smell it before we buy it? Are we not allowed to do that? Because I got that thing that happened salesperson comes up behind you and says in your left ear, "May I help you?" It was just after I screwed the top off a bottle of Myers, and I wanted to know what it smells like.
I always have the worst experiences in stores. When I first came back here in my head, my English was very British English. I went into Macy's, and I was actually I was going to buy a wig block because I had a very expensive wig for a gig that I was doing, and I wanted to keep it nice because it cost a lot of money. So I went to Macy's because they were the only place that sold them, and I said, I asked her where they were, and she said, no, I knew which floor it was, and I said, where are the lifts? Meaning the elevators, and she said, you want to be taller? And I'm like, no, I want to be thinner, but I want to get to a different floor. And she's like, oh, you mean the elevator? I was like, well, if you knew what I freaking meant, why didn't you just go with the fact that you knew what I meant? So, yeah, I don't have much luck in stores. I've never been, well, I mean, I'll probably have to be careful now because, I've admitted that I've been the decoy for thieves, but it was like, 25, 30 years ago, a lot longer.
Oh, yes, I believe the statute of limitations
Yeah.
has been out on that.
Yeah, it has. And so if anybody in my UK hometown wants to, complain, then give it to God, baby.
I have one more question. I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
To jump in, but Christian Saucier, what is the update on him? Because now that Comey is out, we should be getting Christian Saucier back, right?
Well, it's interesting you should say that, and yes, and I think that there are rumbles, and people like Sean Hannity have started talking about him again. And things like that, but still nothing concrete. And I think the issue is for the family is that nobody tells them what's going on. It could be that it's imminent, or it could be that it's in the process, but nobody says, hey, this is where it's at. And that's the frustration. And the problem is for Sadie. Sadie's got to live, with her daughter until her husband is released, and the concern is that she's about to lose her house. So she's living on the charity of strangers, and it's a concern because if they leave that house, if they lose that house, where the hell are they going to live? Can I just say very quickly, sorry, we will come right back to Christian, but if you are having trouble with the video, I'm not responsible for it. Facebook Live, you need to complain to them. If you are having trouble watching, try refreshing your browser. Make sure you have the most up-to-date version of Facebook. If you're watching on a wireless router, reset your wireless router. And that's as much as I can tell you, I'm afraid. But yes, one would hope that now Comey is out of the way, that would pave the way for Christian to be released. So I don't see Sadie in the feed right now. She normally is. But we're still hanging in there with you, Sadie, and hoping for a quick release for Chris. I just want to say a quick hello to everybody in the live feed because I know they always feel ignored. Hi to Dave. Hi to Tommy. Hi to Shyster. Good evening, Joan. Hi, Justin, who says it's Zantastic. Hi to Gina. Sorry having problems with the live feed. Hi to Joe. Welcome. Hey to CV. Welcome to the show. Dave says, Xander, none of your British guests were hurt in Manchester. No, thankfully not, but many were. And we're going to come on to that in a minute. CV says he charges for his art, but he doesn't tell us what his art is. Hi to Zal. Hi to Margret Echverria Chet Martin, who looks a little bit like you, Margaret. Maybe you're related. Hi to Jean over in the UK. Hey to Joan. Hey to Nick. Hi to Brenda up there in Canada. Hope you're doing good. And I think that is about everybody. I need to get glasses because I'm like this squinting to see all the names. Maybe I should just make the page to like 200 or 250. that might be the way to go. Okay, so we're going to jump into the first story now, but before we do, I have to do our quick advert, because unfortunately we have to pay for the show. One way you can support us here at X-RAD is by clicking the share button. If you click share on the video, that means other people can see it, and it makes the potential of the show to go to a 2-hour show that much more possible. You can also buy the CD, which is called the Platinum Prequel, which is by yours truly. And you can also buy the book, which is called The Boy from Beyond the Ice House. And I'm sharing the links now. It would be great if some of you bought that, because as I said, you know, we don't have any funding for the show right now. And it's all down to moi. Good evening to Andrea Kay, who just jumped into the live feed. Welcome to everyone. We're going to jump in now with our first story, which we already alluded to, which was regarding the fact that there was another terrorist incident last night in Manchester, England, at an Ariana Grande concert, and it's made me really sad to kind of, you know, think that, you know, this place was full of children, and, you know, it just I don't know, it just breaks my heart to think that we live in a world with people that are that evil to do this kind of thing. So after the horrific terror attacks in, as I said, Manchester, England last night, the suspect was originally identified as a 23-year-old male, according to a source. Police have said the suspect now was 22, like that makes a difference. A 23-year-old man has also been arrested in South Manchester in connection with the attack. Police said authorities executed 2 warrants as part of the investigation. One in the Whalley Range district of Manchester and one in the Manchester suburb of Fallowfield, where a controlled explosion took place. Now, Greater Manchester Police are requesting dashcam footage from anyone who was in Manchester City Centre last night. As part of their investigation, a 39-year-old man was also arrested in Birmingham today near a vigil for the attack. The man is known to the police. The man who committed the atrocity is known to the police and is thought to have a history of mental illness. And they released his name today, but I don't like sharing his name, but I am going to tell you that his name is Coward Bastard Muslim Asshole. And I hope your virgins were worth waiting for. I hope they're all toothless and have syphilis. I'm sorry, but this is how it makes me feel. A small axe and a large stick were recovered at the vigil. Police said ISIS has claimed responsibility for the explosion. In a statement translated from Arabic, ISIS said that the soldier of the caliphate placed explosives at a gathering of crusaders, meaning Christians, at the Manchester Arena. The statement said about 30 people were killed and about 70 more were wounded. The explosion is being treated as a terrorist attack, and UK Prime Minister Theresa May said that the threat level remained at severe, meaning the government considered another attack highly likely. Now, the severe level is the second highest of 5, with the critical highest. Greater Manchester Police said the officers were called to Manchester Arena just before 10:35. The explosion happened near the arena's foyer after the concert, according to witnesses who reported hearing a loud bang as they exited. Now, some people have said, you know, the mayor of London, whatever his name is, Sadiq, and this BBC reporter called Kitty something or other, she's a TV presenter on the BBC, said we should really be, we should. This is the kind of thing we should expect now. And that really makes me furious, because we should not come to expect these things, because then that means we accept them as the norm. And we should never accept radical Islamic terrorism, yes, we can say it on the show, as the norm, because then they've won.
Oh, I agree. I really agree. And, you know, the fact that the tour has been suspended upsets me a great deal. Although I understand why she did that. She's probably just completely distraught,
right,
and just needs a break. But at the same time, I feel like, you know, that's a win for them. And the other thing is, we apologized for the Crusades. I mean, what the hell? It wasn't easy for right? The Crusades, I mean, nobody made it. Like, we all died during the Crusades. The Crusades were a bad idea.
Yeah.
You apologize for this. What is this? Get over it.
Yes.
ISIS is mentally ill. It's just
Clearly.
a huge pocket of mentally ill people who have been made mentally ill by their environment, and we have to make this kind of environment unacceptable.
We do.
It's not good for children. Anybody who would want their child to grow up in an ISIS environment is mentally ill.
Well, I saw. I can't remember what the exact statistics were, but they reckoned that in the UK alone there were thousands of ISIS sympathizers. And my point is, if you live in America or if you live in the UK and you're an ISIS sympathizer and you support them and you're vocal about it publicly, then we should pack you off on a plane to go and live with them, because as soon as they get pissed off with you, they're going to kill you too.
Exactly. I mean, these are not your friends.
No.
These people are not your friends. You're crazy if you think they're your friends. You're not critically thinking.
Yeah. I mean, a couple of things came out of this that really concerned me. Number one, am I a fan of Ariana Grande? Not really. Apparently she's liberal and she's very outspoken. Okay, good for her. But I don't think that this is any reflection on her. It's not like she would have chosen that at her concert. So I think that was a load of rubbish today.
The name of her tour was something empowering to women, something like Women of Power or Women of Courage or something like that.
Right.
So, so this attack was probably most definitely, an assault on women who are empowered.
Yes. Like I said, I just, whether someone's a liberal or a Republican, if people are saying something about them that's absolutely ridiculous, I think we have to speak out about it. And in that vein, I'm kind of pissed that the media is saying today, oh, Donald Trump calling them losers is really not presidential. And I thought, wait a minute. He spoke out about it. He was actually in the Middle East when this happened. And I think that he dealt with it pretty well. Because let's face it, he's out there trying to broker a peace treaty between, Muslims and Jews. And I think you have to be a little politically correct when you're in their backyard.
Well, yes. Yes. I mean, here's the thing, go burn a Quran in public and see how that goes for you. I mean, you would have to be really out of touch to think that that's going to go well for you at all.
Right.
These people, these extremists, these fundamentalists, these misinterpreters of scripture, of the Quran, they have a huge problem.
They do.
It's a mass. It's like a crowd hallucination, that they are living under, and they do terrible things. But to your other point, I will not live in a world where this is expected. I will not, and I think that this is something that should not be tolerated.
Right. And
we have to find a way, without getting ourselves killed, to expose it for what it is. This is blasphemy.
Totally.
What they say is, true Islam or of Allah is total blasphemy.
Right. The concern is that I think that a lot of this has been of our making because we've been far too tolerant over the years. Interestingly enough, on Facebook, you can have a page that says, kill cops, kill gays, kill conservatives. You can even have pages about bombing certain groups. Not that I'm suggesting it's okay to suggest that about anybody, but the moment you mention Muslims on Facebook, you're banned. And the same on Twitter, and that concerns me. But you can have pages that say kill the gays, kill cops, do this. I think our over-tolerant society has really contributed to this attitude by some Muslims of that they've been badly done to. Because here's the thing for me. If you were born here, it's a totally different matter. But if you come and live here from a Muslim country and then start shouting about Sharia law and saying it is your right, you're right, it is your right. Back in a Muslim country. And if you are shouting for Sharia law in America, then go and live somewhere where it already is happening. Because this is America, bud, and we're not putting up with your shit anymore. And we've been too tolerant of all this for too long, and it's about time we fought fire with fire. Now, I was criticized on Friday night because I said on Joe Messina's show that nobody that's committed an act of terror should be treated the same as an American citizen. They should kill them on the spot. Because the reason that people keep doing these things is because they're not afraid of the consequences. Oh, let's go and hug a terrorist. Never mind that. If you commit an act of terror, you deserve a bullet through your brain. Because if you want to meet Allah, let's just cut out the middleman.
We in Western society have been tolerant, but tolerant of differences, tolerant of different cultures, and that has worked very well for us. But also, I think that, Saudi Arabia is too tolerant of these freaks.
Right.
And other Muslim countries with a whole heck of a lot of money are too tolerant of these people.
Exactly.
Palestine is too tolerant. These people take root in Muslim countries that have no separation of church and state, and they take root in places like Pakistan and Saudi Arabia and Yemen and places like that. And those nations, those people are too tolerant, because if they washed them before they even left the borders, we wouldn't have this problem.
You see, my issue, I have friends who happen to be Muslim, and for me, my question right away is, there's a group in the UK called Not in My Name, and if you are a committed Muslim and you believe that this is wrong, why are you not speaking out about it?
Well, because it's a way to get killed. I mean, honestly, that's how powerful these groups have gotten. It's a way to get yourself killed. When Ayaan Hirsi Ali, made a film that offended the Muslim extremists,
right?
She was hunted down, like prey, and she still is to this day for saying that Islamic fundamentalists are wrong and writing books about it. So it is a way to get yourself killed. So that's why people don't speak out about it. You speak out against gays and say that all gays should be, should go to hell. Chances are a homosexual is not going to show up on your doorstep and shoot you in the head.
No, they might come and give you a makeover and reset your poodle and put a quiche in the oven. But
or fill your yard with pink flamingos.
Yes, exactly. I really do think something has to give. But I think the Muslim community does have a responsibility in all of this to speak out.
They do, and we have to make it absolutely unacceptable that they don't.
Yes, I would agree with that 200%, because the thing is for me, silence also equals death. Saying nothing about it is actually it is just as bad. In fact, it's worse for me, because if you have an opportunity to say something and don't, your silence is contributing to this, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely, it is, and I think we have to recognize that it's very complicated and very dangerous to speak out in certain areas of the world.
But it shouldn't be in America, because the thing is, if you live in America where we have freedom of speech, it's imperative to use that freedom of speech, even more so if you're a Muslim, because I get so aggrieved by people saying, oh, it's so important not to generalize. Well, give people a reason not to generalize, because if you're not saying I am different from this, then you don't encourage people not to generalize.
Right. I think you're right. But I think we do need to recognize the enemy here. The enemy here is ruthless.
Yeah, and the enemy here. And the enemy here are recruiting vulnerable people in order to be able to spread their hate and to make this, make this kind of like they're the ones that are aggrieved in all of this. And when you it's cowardly to attack places like this. This place was full of kids. And to attack places like this, what does that say about you? What does that say about the God that you're doing this in the name of? It's of grave concern as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it really is, and that should be evidence right there that it's evil.
Yes,
what they're doing is evil.
Absolutely. I want to share a couple of things from the live feed. Zell says the message we're getting in the UK is that we accept the slaughter of our children, but not hate speech. I don't know if that was, it says Tucker Carlson. I don't know if that was a direct quote from him or not. Nick says Grande has stated she hates Americans and hates America. The country her fans weren't nail bombing. She's a huge advocate for more refugees. I hope she wakes up. And C.V. Burton says, let's call them losers, brand them scumbag, coward, losers. Do you think that things like this should change people's views on refugees, Margaret?
No, I think we have to be very careful about who we take in as a refugee. I think we need to examine.
I think that's more what I meant.
Very carefully.
Yeah.
I don't think we should rush it. I know that there's great urgency because there's quite a few of them.
Right.
But, they're getting the hell out of this mess, right? Because they can't speak up in their own countries. You can't stand up in Saudi Arabia and say, these fundamentalists who are misinterpreting the Quran really suck. You can't do that in Saudi Arabia, right? You can't do that in certain parts of Syria. So getting the hell out so that they can have their voices heard, and I respect the hell out of that. And
I think
there are imposters.
I think it's changing.
Slipping through.
I mean, just even from this trip with the Mr. Trump is on right now, I think it's changing from the perspective that the leadership in this country don't want to be tarred with the same brush as these fundamental killers. And it really feeds into what I was saying about this ideology of not in my name. And if leaders of Muslim countries are standing up and saying this is not on, we need to stamp this out. Because, I think that this gives license to Donald Trump to go and bomb the hell out of ISIS. Go and do it now, with blessing. Because the thing is, for me, you can't have these things done in your name and then complain when someone comes and bombs the shit out of you.
Right, but do we know where they are? Do we really know where they are?
Oh, well, I think...
Or are we going to kill in the process?
I think intelligence gives a lot of information as to where they are. I mean, the last ones they took out, that was based upon intelligence. Go and bomb the bastards. That's my ideology. Because if you're willing to kill people and you get killed in the process, then that's all fair in love and war, as far as I'm concerned.
I don't know. Bombing's always it's very upsetting to me. I prefer more surgical precision.
Like what?
It is more expensive.
Like what?
Like assassination and assassinating the leaders and infiltrating.
Right.
And assassinating and killing specific people who are a threat and not killing any extra people who are not.
Right, I see. I don't think there should be civilian casualties in any of this, but statistically speaking, they're not kind of like hanging out in the city. These people, they're kind of like in their own little cliques, out of the city. But I definitely think that's something that needs to be taken into consideration. I want to move on now to, by the way, our hearts go out to the people of Manchester and those that were affected.
I used to be one of those kids running around the Manchester area when I was 15.
Yeah.
I lived in Village near Wigan.
Wigan, what's it called? Wigan, I can't think of it. The Wigan Pier. I've been to Wigan Pier many moons ago.
We used to go dance in the clubs all night. It never occurred to us that any of that would ever be dangerous, because it was the north of England. Everything happened in London.
Right, exactly. But our hearts do go out to you, and we pray that the souls of those who died rest in peace and rise in glory, and we pray for a cessation to all violence in the name of religion. All violence, full stop. So I want to move on to another story. This kind of bothered me yesterday. More than 100 students and their family members walked out of Vice President Mike Pence's commencement speech at Notre Dame University yesterday in protest of his stance on LGBT issues and refugees. Now, Mr. Pence was born not far from the Northern Indiana campus and addressed the graduating class. It was Sunday. I do beg your pardon. Your education here is prepared for a life of service to your families, to your communities, and to your country, he said. But student organizers have been quietly planning their response to Mr. Pence for months, ever since he was announced as the commencement speaker. Brian Ricketts, one of the group's leaders and former Notre Dame student body president, said that many students were upset and hurt by the decision to invite Mr. Pence because his policies have impacted the humanity of certain graduates. A press release from the student activist group pointed to Mr. Pence's alleged anti-LGBT and anti-refugee policies as governor of Indiana and his support of Donald Trump's travel ban and threats to sanctuary cities as vice president. We will walk out in silence with respect for the human dignity of those with whom we disagree, and an invitation to the rest of the community to build an inclusive future together, the press release said. As Mr. Pence took the stage, the students stood and walked out of the stadium. The group later claimed that more than 100 had participated in the walkout. Now, the protest came weeks after Betsy DeVos, Donald Trump's Secretary of Education, was drowned out by boos during her commencement speech. Disrespect is now coming the new normal. Now, one of the things I want to address first of all of this, because I think, I find gestures like this really ridiculous. And I want to break down a little bit of this ideology that Mike Pence is anti-gay, because as a gay person living in America that identifies as a Republican, I have a real issue with this. Because number one, if you disagree with gay marriage and you're a Christian, I think that's perfectly your right to do so. I don't think that makes you a hater. Your disagreement doesn't make you a hater. There's been talk of the fact that Mike Pence is pro, what's it called? Can you remember what it's called? It's kind of like the gay cure, electric shock treatment for being gay.
The gay away.
Yeah. It didn't work with me, I'm afraid. They tried, they prayed, but it didn't work. But my point being is that if you have ideologies that differ with some people, as long as that doesn't flow into your policy making as a politician, why is that a problem?
Well, it does flow into his policy making. He tried to get the state of Indiana to fund his Pray Away the Gay camp.
As the governor of Indiana, yeah, I looked into that and couldn't find a lot of evidence about it. When exactly was this? Because I couldn't. I found that there was a lot of suggestion about it, but it wasn't actually put into law, was it?
No, it didn't pass. I mean, it didn't say in the bill. No, but it was something that he advocated for. He wanted government funds for these camps.
Right. Well, I can't defend that. I can't defend that, neither as a gay person or a Republican. But I was referring more to his time as vice president. And, you know, the ideology that this administration is anti-gay is a concern to me. And I would be the first one to speak out about issues of this ilk, you know, because I'm openly gay. But the concern is for me that we can't paint disagreement as hate.
Well, I don't think the Trump administration really gives a damn about lesbian and gay issues.
Really?
I don't think they care one way or the other. I think it's really not on their radar. Like, they're just like, whatever, you know, this is not a threat to our country, and let the gay be gay. I don't think it's really a torch they're willing to carry.
Wow.
Which is great, you know, but, you know, I think they're just like, let it be, you know, we've got bigger things to worry about. I really think that's how Trump feels, and I think he leads on that, you know, and everybody else can grumble about how they're anti-gay marriage or whatever within the Republican Party, but I don't think Trump's really going to give it an ear. I really don't, and I don't think he's going to allow Pence to do it either. And Pence doesn't have any power; he's just vice president.
Yeah, of course. So this show of strength was kind of ridiculous. You know, just from the ideology of like you said, you know, what can Pence do without Trump's backing? I mean, there's a huge organization called.
And also, I mean, how dare you do that to your parents? Your parents have come to your graduation ceremony.
Yeah.
There you are, right? It's supposed to be about celebrating you and all the hard work that you did and all the money that your parents spent so that you could do all that hard work that you did. And then you're gonna make it into a political protest just because it's a vice president who has a lot of policies you don't agree with,
right,
or has a history you don't agree with. Don't you want to sit there and enjoy the moment? This is the only time you're going to graduate from this institution, right?
Exactly.
Just hear what he has to say. He's probably not going to make it that political. It's political.
No.
It's not the venue for that.
No. I mean, I think a lot of people have the ideology that, you know, once gay marriage was passed, there was nothing else to do for gay people, which is not true, because in some states you can actually be fired for being gay, and I think that's something that needs to be looked at. But I think in general, the new rights that came with same-sex marriage kind of, you know, left a lot, kind of dealt with a lot of the things that the gay community had complaint about. But, you know, my issue is not with gay people at all. My issue is with the leadership of the LGBTQ ABCDFD movement, because the acronym grows every day, and the reason I'm pissed with them is because, number one, I didn't elect them, and number two, they don't have a job unless there's something to gripe about, and that bothers me phenomenally. You know, they don't speak for me, they don't represent me, and they only added the L and the T in order to make it even more political, because as far as I'm concerned, it's not the LGBTQ community, it's the gay community. And that's what it always was. And that's not in order to discriminate against some people. But the T and the L have never really fought for anyone but themselves. And I'm sorry, you know, you can write to me at Xander Gibb at idon'tgiveacrap.com, but I think that's absolutely true. You know, I know you're quite, you know, a lot of gay people, and you're quite involved with gay people and stuff. What's your perspective on that?
Well, I feel like the bis never get heard. Why are the bis, you know, included in the LGBTQ
banner? Yeah.
You know, but nothing ever gets done for them.
Right.
You know, they're ridiculed. And I think that's really not fair, because I think there are far more bisexual people than there are even gay people.
Right.
So,
well, I think bisexual people are just greedy, let's face it. You know.
maybe, you know, and there are people who still think that bisexuals don't exist. You're
right.
either one or the other, and that's ridiculous.
Exactly. I'm trisexual. I'll try anything sexual. But it depends who.
Is Q for queer?
No, questioning. You see, I don't get this about the Q. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and Q is questioning. Now, if you're questioning, Surely you're either straight or one of the above. I mean, I just am sick of the politicizing. And the thing that bothers me about this community is that they take vulnerable young people and they make them hate certain individuals just because they disagree. And they brainwash them into thinking that anyone who disagrees with you is a phobe. You're a homophobe if you disagree with me. And, I wrote a very well-known article called, Are You Xanderphobic? Because that's how stupid it is. If you disagree with anything I say on the show tonight, then clearly you're a Xanderphobe. Because, you can disagree with a gay person on something without being a homophobe. You can disagree with a black person without being racist. But that's where we've got to in America in 2017. That what we do is we label, not you and I, of course, and not you, Margaret, but the royal we, what we do is we label people as haters that disagree with us.
Yeah, and that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I mean, that's how these big, nasty fights get started in political arenas, is pointing fingers and saying you're a hater before you even hear somebody's point of view.
Absolutely, it is a real concern. But my advice to gay people out there, or the LGBTQ ABCDFG community, is feel free to keep your eye on Pence, and if he steps out of line, then be vocal about it. But I would say this about other issues too. Wait until something happens without predicting it, because I was told that once Trump got into office, that we would all be in concentration camps, and it's not happened yet. I'm still not in a concentration camp. I mean, what is a gay concentration camp anyway? Are all the tents pink and they have disco balls, hanging from the roof of the tent? It's actually that ridiculous. So feel free to keep an eye on these things and feel free to speak out. But let's wait till something happens before you start pissing and whining.
I think this administration is coming after you.
What?
I don't think this administration is coming after you.
No.
I really don't. I don't think they care what you do.
No. Absolutely. So I want to move on to our last, because I love this story. I don't know about you, Margaret. But this story really kind of made me smile a little today. A South African big game hunter was crushed to death when an elephant picked him up and then fell on him after being shot. So he shot the elephant, then the elephant picked him up and fell down on him. Zimbabwean officials and media reports said on Monday. Theonis Botha, 51, a professional hunter who specialized in hunting with hounds, died on Friday in western Zimbabwe. He was leading a group of hunters on a state-owned land in the Gwei region when they disturbed a breeding herd and were charged by 4 female elephants. One elephant lifted Botha up with her trunk, and fellow hunters shot the animal dead. As the elephant collapsed, it crushed Botha, giving him fatal injuries. His body was taken to Hwange mortuary. Simuka Nyashe, great name. Hello, my name is Simuka Nyashe. Spoke for Zimbabwe's Parks and Wildlife Management Authority and said, "Yes, this is one for the elephants." No, he said the death, the unfortunate incident happened when the hunting party got in the middle of a breeding herd of elephants and were attacked by female elephants. You see, got to be careful of women people out there. The females are the ones you got to watch. He said, adding that the hunt was authorized. A spokeswoman for Botha's company, Big Game Safaris, based in Limpopo, South Africa, declined to comment to reporters, but said the statement would be issued later in the week. Botha led regular trophy hunts for clients, often from America, who pay thousands of dollars to shoot leopards, giraffes, and elephants and other animals. Ooh, bring them to me. Let me punch their faces in. A father of 5, Botha's family ran the company, which was set up in 1983 in South Africa, in Zimbabwe, Botswana, and Mozambique, and Namibia. Another South African was killed by a crocodile last month while hunting in southern Zimbabwe. Now, what do you make of this, Margaret? Because, my first response is kind of similar to when I hear that a matador has been killed. Is that bad?
Yes. I have to say I kind of feel the same way. But, I'm not a vegetarian or anything crazy like that.
No.
But I just think this, hunting for
barbaric.
Yeah, it really is. And there's a, you have a stone for a heart. I just can't. And elephants, I mean, my God, have they not been through enough?
Yeah.
Jesus. Let this go. We have to make this. We have to make this practice go away.
I mean, if you live in an area and you go out with your gun and you kill to feed your family, I can't really have very much to say about that. When I lived in England, I got arrested a couple of times. No, not for prostitution, before you ask, but because I went to fox hunts. And basically what they do in fox hunts is gentry, that's like rich people. They do is they ride around on horseback and they chase the animal until the fox until it either has a heart attack or drops down dead of natural causes. And so basically it's a barbaric sport, so they banned it, but only because people like me protested about it enough, and they're talking about bringing it back now. But I do have a concern that they do this kind of thing. Now, if you're wondering who that is calling, I'm convinced that it's Chet from Freedom on Deck. Good evening, sir. How is the world with you?
Very good, Xander. Hello, Margaret. My reasoning for calling in is to put on the scale for the conservative, all right? When big game hunters go out like this and they get killed like this, it's absolutely poetic justice to me.
Right.
I want people to understand that most conservatives do not believe in going out and destroying wildlife.
No.
Like a great mastodon as an elephant, or you remember the lion that had gotten killed that I think we were all so offended with. And that's really all I wanted to say. Myself as a conservative, I believe in conserving life. Just as much as I believe in conserving life of humans and the right for life, I believe the same thing in the animal kingdom. And I don't believe that we should have big game hunters out there. And I think they're cowards.
Yeah.
And I think any of them
small penises usually
lose their lives. I will say this: they deserve it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like these guys that get picked on in school, and then they make a bit of money when they're older, and they go and buy a big car that's like a penis extension. That's why I love these big game hunters. Look at me with my gun. I can kill this big animal. And it's interesting. As I was saying to Margaret, I have no disrespect for you if you go out and shoot wildlife to feed your family. If you shoot something and kill it and eat it, that's been the way, the law of the jungle for long enough. But if you just kill for the sake of killing, what does that say about you?
Well, that's what they're doing. They're killing for the sake of killing. It's just like looking at the deer population out on eastern Long Island. What do? We tranquilize them, and we give them a little snip in the area that, you wouldn't want to get snipped. But at least you're not killing them. And, as far as hunting is concerned, when it's done the right way, I have no problem with it. But when you're going into Africa, you have these majestic beasts, and that's what I'll call them, because I defend the right to life in any way, shape, or form, Xander.
Right.
And that's what I'm trying to say. Any conservative out there that wants to be gung-ho like Ted Nugent, I'm not down with you, man.
Me
I
either.
have no feelings towards that. So.
I mean, it's interesting that some Christians believe that the Bible says we have dominion over the animals, and we probably do, but that doesn't mean that we should be out killing them, and just for sport, for the sake of it. Tell people who's on your show this week, Chet, and tell them where they can listen to it.
We have Sadie Saucier on this week, and the other gentleman that is on the show, I cannot divulge that for certain reasons. So
okay.
You'll have to listen on Sundays from 3 to 5 Eastern Time on 949 News Now and Stimulating Talk. That's
Absolutely, and make sure you follow Chet on social media and the Freedom on Deck page. Thanks for calling, buddy. Have a great week.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Good to hear you, Chet.
So yeah, I kind of, you see, that's interesting. I'm glad he called in and said that, because I think a lot of people have the ideology just that if you're a conservative and you like guns, then you're for killing anything. But
Right,
you know,
and that's totally erroneous
yeah.
perspective.
Exactly. So we are coming to the end of our time together, Margret. Another great show under our belts. I can smell my casserole in the oven. It's going, Xander, eat me. Tell people where they can find you, and when is your next, I can't remember what it's called, your Monday night thingamabobby.
June 5th is the next one at the Cornelia Street Cafe at 26 Cornelia Street in the West Village in Manhattan. It's called Monologues and Madness. It begins at 6 p.m. the first Monday of every month, and the next one is June 5th, 6 p.m. at the Cornelia Street Cafe. I'd love to see you there. We're test driving new material, new monologues. It's so much fun. And lately it's been really like far above and beyond any work that we've done before. The quality is just really improved. Also, my new film, Hooked, is coming out.
Ooh.
Check it out at www.hookedproject.com. It's a new film with Max Emerson, who has 700,000 followers on Instagram, so you may know who Max Emerson is. He's gay, and cute.
All the gay people are just so cute. I can't, I really don't know why. So make sure you go and check all of those things out with Margret. Thank you so much for joining us once again, Margret. Have a great week, and I will speak to you very soon. Lots of love.
Lots of love to you too. Bye.
Bye. That was fabulous, Margret Echverria. Make sure you check her out at margretechverria.com. On tomorrow's show, my co-host is the wonderful, the beautiful Andrea Kay and the equally beautiful Julio Rivera. Please click share on the video before you go. We need to see at least 10 shares right now. Now, click share. I'm going to hypnotize you. Xander says, click the share button now. You see, you're obviously not inducible by hypnosis, which is not always a bad thing. Just click the damn button. So thanks for everybody in the live feed for joining us. Thanks to our guest. Thanks to Chet Martin from Freedom on Deck for calling in. We will be back with you tomorrow. Thanks everybody for sharing. Don't forget, buy the book, buy the CD. I just shared the links again. We will be back with you tomorrow. Have a safe night, and you've guessed it. Oh yes, I really do love you all. Bye-bye.
Love, it has been good to me this time around. Things were the bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact, and I can